What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, talking today about The Last of Us because some very baffling breaking news is currently coming out. The Last of Us Online, the standalone multiplayer project that's being talked about now for the last 3 years, has just officially been canceled. And I want to take a look at their statement because this to me is just completely shocking. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I was actually currently working on my office, so I'm sorry that I'm wearing my casual clothes instead of my typical shirt. But you can see here, I just saw this tweet a minute ago. It says, an update on The Last of Us Online. Now, typically, if you post something at 6 p.m. on a weeknight, it's because you don't want people talking about it. So this is some pretty impressively bad news. Also, they've disabled all replies. Probably not good. So I've not actually read this. We're going to be looking at this for the first time together. This is from the official Naughty Dog website, an update on The Last of Us Online. We realize that many of you have been anticipating news around this project that we've been calling The Last of Us Online. There's no easy way to say this. We've made the difficult decision to stop development. Holy, what? This is just baffling. We know this news will be tough for many, especially our dedicated Last of Us factions community who have been following our multiplayer ambitions ardently. We're equally crushed at the studio as we were looking forward to putting it in your hands. We wanted to share with you some background as to how we came to this decision. Okay, so this is incredibly fascinating. I'm curious as to how they came up with it because honestly, there were leaks of the multiplayer. It was definitely in a playable state. Maybe it didn't have enough microtransactions and battle passes, but I'm already making bad jokes. Let's actually see what they said. The multiplayer team had been in pre-production with this game since we were working on The Last of Us Part 2. Now, we knew that. They'd actually released statements at the time. Originally, this multiplayer was going to be Factions 2, and it was going to be connected to The Last of Us Part 2. We wanted to craft an experience that we felt was unique and had tremendous potential. As the multiplayer team iterated on their concept for The Last of Us Online during their time, their vision crystallized. The gameplay got more refined and satisfying, and we were enthusiastic about the direction that we were headed. Okay, so this all sounds positive so far. Where's the big but? In ramping up to full production, the massive scope of our ambition became clear. To release and support The Last of Us Online, we'd have to put all of our studio resources behind supporting it post-launch with content for years to come, severely impacting development on future single-player games. Which is a fair point. Definitely the biggest criticism of live service games is that you can't really just walk away from them. Like, it's very difficult for a studio to make single player and multiplayer stuff. Typically, you got to be one or the other. Either you're cranking out updates and maps and skins, or you're making back-to-back single player experiences like Insomniac Games has been doing with Ratchet and Clank and, of course, Spider-Man. So we've had two paths in front of us: become a solely live service game studio or continue to focus on single player narrative games that defined Naughty Dog's heritage. We are immensely proud of everyone at the studio that touched this product. The learnings and investments in technology from this game will carry into how we develop our future projects and will be invaluable to the direction as a studio. We have more than one ambitious brand new single player game that we're currently working on, and we cannot wait to share more about what comes next. Until then, we're incredibly thankful to our community and for your support throughout the years. So there's been talks about the fact that they're probably working on some version of The Last of Us Part 3. Obviously, there's been some leaks and rumors that they want to finish off The Last of Us universe, maybe finally give us not the bleakest ending ever, maybe actually having the characters ride off into the sunset. There's even a bunch of leaks and stuff talking about the fact that they want to cure the zombie virus, which I think would be a pretty interesting twist if The Last of Us Part 3 wasn't as depressing as The Last of Us Part 2. But the other big thing that they're sort of hinting at here is there's been talks about some fantasy or sci-fi project being worked on by Naughty Dog. So obviously the internet is kind of freaking out because this is just a very, very big deal. But my curiosity is about how much of this was their decision and how much of this was a choice that was made for them. Obviously, just a couple years ago, we saw Sony buy Bungie, and the talks were the fact that they were buying Bungie in order to have them be their MMO tastemakers for other live service games. Bungie, who has so much experience with Destiny 2 and updates and patches and seasons, they'd be able to look at different styles of these online projects that Sony's working on, because there's talks about The Last of Us, there's talks about some single-player shooters, some more shootery online MMO things that people can play with Battle Pass seasons and stuff. There's also been leaks showing that Horizon Forbidden West live service game. I'm curious if Destiny got their hands on this. I'm curious if Bungie took a look at this and said, okay, this is fun, but how long can it be profitable? Because I'm wondering if they could have just hired up. That's like a very difficult thing to do in the gaming industry. But sometimes if you're working on a particularly ambitious project, you slowly build up your catalog. You get your arsenal of developers and grow them bit by bit. So it's just honestly super weird that they're choosing to can it. They've been working on this for roughly 4 years. Like, consider that. They said that they were working on this since The Last of Us Part 2 was in development. Last of Us Part 2 came out 3 years ago. So this has been in development for at least 4 years. The fact that it's canceled, this has got to be one of the highest budget failures that seems so close to conclusion. I mean, anytime I see a game get canceled or a live service project get canned, I'm always curious what it actually looked like. It is very strange to me that we never actually got to see any official footage. We didn't see a gameplay trailer. We didn't see any teases of different characters and skins and stuff like that. This is still, as fans with official reports, a gigantic question mark. The fact that they're talking about how good it was gameplay-wise, and yet it still wasn't like enough, man, I guess I'm going to try and take this as a positive, but I'll be honest, I'm very sad about this. I like The Last of Us, especially The Last of Us Part 1, and I do like some live service games. I play a lot of Diablo and stuff like that. I do like seasonal adventures at times, the idea of grinding it out and getting some bonuses and logging in and playing with friends. The thought of this, on paper, theoretically, was incredibly positive, and now none of us are ever going to get a chance to play it. But what do you guys think about it? This is just insane to me. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.